24/7, your source for questioning more. This is RT International live from Moscow with me, Rory Souchet. So the fate of the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is to be decided today by the UK's High Court. Of course, now it is the second day of an extradition appeal hearing brought by the United States. Assange is wanted by Washington on 17 charges of espionage and one of conspiracy to hack a government computer. If convicted, he could face a prison sentence of 175 years. A short time ago, I crossed live to RT's Shadia Edwards-Dashley just outside the courthouse.
Well, it's day 2 of the extradition hearing for Julian Assange right here at the Royal Courts of Justice in central London. Today has all been about Julian Assange's lawyers trying to defend the case for Assange not to be extradited to the United States. Of course, they're trying to present new information and new arguments as to why that should be the case. Of course, yesterday was all about Washington presenting its arguments, and they were describing many things, including this offer of an unprecedented package of reassurances that Julian Assange would not be placed in the strictest maximum security prison, even arguing that he could potentially serve his sentence in Australia. But one of the most concerning things is they were desperately attempting to discredit the psychiatric evaluations and assessments. It's fair to say that Julian Assange's lawyers today have been absolutely furious about that and have time and time again trying to rebut those claims. And outside the courts, we've got very vocal supporters of Julian Assange. We heard earlier from the WikiLeaks editor-in-chief, and he said what's happening to Julian Assange is a crime against humanity, and he's really hoping that the Royal Courts of Justice do just that and serve that justice for Julian Assange.
Common sense and justice seems to be often far away. So I have to retain a certain level of skepticism or cynicism when assessing the possibilities. But we certainly hope that the outcome will be that the High Court will simply say he cannot be extradited.
This is an opportunity for the United Kingdom to reassert the administration of law in a clear and just way for journalists all around the world.
Lawyers here today are arguing that the United States assurances are absolutely unworthy, as the United States has actually reserved the right to overturn them at any point, and particularly on his mental and physical health. You only have to listen to Stella Morris, the partner of Julian Assange, who says she's completely taken aback by just how thin he is at the moment, and even seeing video recordings of Julian Assange, he really is looking very worse for purpose. According to his lawyers, he's mentally distressed and also in pain. His lawyers argue that will only get worse if he is indeed extradited to the United States. Plus, they also argue removing him from his support network and family would mean that he'd be at an even higher risk of suicide if he is sent to the United States. Now, this afternoon session, much of it has actually focused on the new evidence presented in court, these mammoth revelations where around 30 former intelligence officers revealed that the CIA actually planned to kidnap and even assassinate Julian Assange while he was in London's Ecuadorian embassy for that near 2,500 days. And many MPs here in the United Kingdom have shown their support here today, talking about those very conditions.
All the evidence we've got and all the experience people have got in the United States is that he would go to a supermax prison on a sentence of 175 years. He would spend the rest of his life in a supermax prison in the United States. What kind of life is that to look forward to for somebody that committed no crime other than telling the world the truth?
It is a total injustice that we send this man to America, to the hands, to the lap of assassins. Many of these powerful people have said he should be killed. So they won't treat him as a human being.
So they want to make an example of Julian Assange by treating him so badly, by trying to break him, that gives a lesson to other journalists.
Well, a lot really does rest on the next few hours, as the stakes have now become so high, as the United States want him for his alleged role in one of the largest compromises of classified information in the history of the United States. And if found guilty and convicted, he could face a prison sentence of up to 175 years behind bars. But supporters and campaigners here, they've been gathering throughout the last 2 days, and they're really defending Julian Assange, because they argue it shouldn't be Julian Assange in the docks here today, but actually those war criminals that Julian Assange exposed the war crimes of.
Nothing in his trial from last year even to now is fair. In every single instance, in any other court of law in anywhere in the world, this would have been thrown out of court. So for this to be continuing is absolutely ridiculous.
It's embarrassing. It's completely embarrassing to be English and be part of this. The high courts of injustice is what it's become. They're bending the laws in every way they can just to ensure that Julian stays in until he dies, I think is the plan.
It's pretty certain that there won't necessarily be any outcome or verdict today. In fact, this could drag on for some weeks, if not months, even up until next year. And in fact, this process could even lead to the Supreme Court in an appeal system, or even at one point later down the line could actually reach the European Courts of Human Rights. In the meantime, though, of course, Julian Assange will remain behind the prison bars in Belmarsh, which is the most notorious prison in the United Kingdom. But people outside the Royal Courts of Justice, many people I've spoken to, they say what's happening to Julian Assange is actually a warning to any journalist or anybody that actually wants to tell the truth. And they argue that this is something that must be defended.